yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
Wake up to a cloudy day, dark rolls in and it starts to rain. Staring out to the cage-like walls, time goes by and the shadows crawl. Crushing candy, crushing pills, got no job, mom pays my bills. Texting exes, get my
shout out to Theory of a Dead Man.
World's out there singing the blues, 20 more dead on the evening news.
The song's called Medicated RX.
I was born to lose. Why can't you just fix me? When all I want to feel numb, but the medication's all gone.
There we go. There we go. So I wanted to pop back in because I felt like I watched the podcast today a little bit. It was hard for me to watch it because I was like, dude, the audio is fucking trash. And it was basically because I didn't know how to operate this new microphone. I got this is the new, it's a fairly cheap microphone. It's all you need, though, if you want to do something like this, right? It's a Yeti Blue, or Blue Yeti, or whatever. And the back of it has this little, setting on it that gathers, further out or closer in for if when you're doing podcasts with people or by yourself or whatever. And it has another setting on it that it either picks up all around the room, half the room, directly at you. It's crazy, and I had it on the wrong setting, so I don't need to be up on the microphone. Like, I'm just sitting right here, and it's picking it up. It's picking it up fine. It's picking it up a lot better than I anticipated. So where I was sitting up on the microphone, talking into the microphone, I wasn't doing you guys a good service with my podcasting. Because this shit's weird anyways, to just sit in front of here like, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. Okay, we're going to go record ourselves talking about nothing really, just my opinions, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, here we are. The day after we did number 8, we're on number 9. And this is how I'm doing it. So without further ado, I love to start my podcast with this. This might be something that I do more of. I don't know. I have a lot of people that like it. So I may do something like this every morning just to fuck around. I don't get that much negative feedback from it. So it may be worth doing it more. But I like to do On This Day in History. And we're going to do On This Day in History, the last day of the month, the last day of September. A September to remember of 2021. That's for sure. We're going to go and do the On This Day in History. Starting with 1864 is as far back as I wanted to go, because they go back fucking far. This thing today they were started recording back in the year 540 something. They were talking about all the shit that I didn't know or care nothing about. But we're gonna pick these key events right here and talk about them real quick, because I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So the first one being 1864, a black soldier given the Medal of Honor. Now that's all they put, so I had to do a little bit more research, and I found out that William Harvey Carney was the first African American to perform an action for which a Medal of Honor was awarded, but Robert Blake was the first to actually receive the Medal of Honor in 1864. Carney got his in 1900 for something that he did prior. That's pretty cool history right there. Something you didn't know about. All right, on to the next thing here. 1898, the city of New York, NYC, was established. The city of NYC was established. Thank God, huh? That place is home to a lot of cool people. They're really proud people up there. People from New York are really proud of themselves, from being from there. Just like people from the South, just like people from anywhere. Not a lot of people aren't proud of where they're from. Well, I mean, I know plenty of people that might be not proud where they're from, but people from New York are super proud. And then it's divided. Either you're a Mets fan or you're a Yankees fan. I won't get into all that stuff. We're going to keep it moving on down the list. 1904, on the White Sox, the lefty Doc White pitches his 5th shutout in 18 days. Now, this is kind of like Don Mattingly hitting those 6 grand slams that season. This dude's over here pitching shutouts, left-handed, which we all know is hard. Left-handed people are, it's hard to be left-handed, obviously, or everybody would do it. Over here just pitching his 5th shutout in 18 days. So we won't get into the, just imagine being, you're going up to bat against this guy. And he's like, he's the pitcher and you're the batter. And you're like, well, fuck, it's Doc. He already has 4, 1, 2, 3, whatever shutouts. You know what I'm saying? This may be not good for me. And then out of nowhere, you're out. You're just out of there. You're not even in, you know what I'm saying? You're not in no more. It's the next inning. He was kicking ass. Shout out Doc White. 1924. I have no idea why this is on here. I just don't know why it's on here. I don't see any point. It's not an important event. But apparently, the Allies stopped checking on German Navy. They were just like, we're not going to check on them anymore. So somebody was like, hey, have you checked on the German Navy in a while? And they were like, no, we don't check on them anymore. We ain't heard from them in a while. I don't talk to them anymore. So they don't call me anymore. They ain't called me in a while. I guess they're too good for me now. Anyway, let's keep it moving. 1927, Babe Ruth. The Babe, the Sultan of Swat, the King of Swing, is Baby Ruth. Hits his 60th home run. That's a record. On this day, September 29th, in 1927. I wasn't even born yet. And he's over here just smashing leather. 1939. First televised college football game. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool because we all like college football. A lot of people are like, I don't fuck with the NFL. I like college because they don't play for money. Well, they play for money now. They got to prove them boys getting paid. So which one you with now, Jimmy? Which one you want to do now, Jimmy? You watching the NFL or college? Might as well just start watching them both since they both get paid. Anyways, let's keep it rolling with the 1950. The Grand Ole Opry became nothing. It was a radio. It was a radio station that broadcasted on TV for the first time on September 29th, 1950. Everybody knows what the Grand Ole Opry is. I mean, I grew up watching Nashville Sound or whatever it was called, or not Nashville Sound. It was like Nashville Morning, or I don't know. It had the dude and the woman on there. She had the big hair. She used Aquanet, pretty sure. But they would play all the country music, and then the Grand Ole Opry would come on there too, and I'd watch it. I'd be like, that's so boring, Granny. Like, can we watch something else? And she'd be like, fuck, no, we ain't watching nothing else. Sit your ass right there. We're about to watch this fucking shit right here. This Grand Ole Opry shit is what we're watching. It didn't traumatize me. I still love the Grand Ole Opry very much, but that's how I remember it growing up. Because I had to watch it and not talk while it was on. Let's keep it moving. 1955, James Dean was killed in a car crash at 24 years old. James Dean. He was the hottest thing going back then, they say. Killed in a car crash, taken too early. R.I.P. James Dean. 1960, one of my absolute favorite, all-time favorite cartoons ever to exist, and the existence of cartoons ever to exist on this planet existing would be the Flintstones. September 29th, 1960, the Flintstones came out. Hanna-Barbera. If you don't know about Hanna-Barbera, look up Hanna-Barbera. It's just amazing cartoons. Flintstones being probably one of the best ones. God, I loved it. Yeah, but do, and then he'd be like Barney. You know, the movie with John Goodman and them, that was pretty good too. I like that. I liked the movie. When it became a movie, I was a kid, and I was like, hell yeah, like it was awesome. Like, you know, I just loved it. But the cartoon, I hated it when they switched up Barney's voice. I knew when they did it too. I fucking knew when they did it. But sitting around, that shit took me from childhood on into adulthood. You didn't ever really watch it high until you was an adult. But you ever watch the Flintstones high, you watch it a little bit different. It's fucking great. Let's keep it moving. 1972, Roberto Clemente records his 11th. Here's the 11th to record 3,000 hits. 3,000 hits. He's the 11th to do it. Roberto Clemente. If you've never seen the movie about his story, pretty badass. It is. You gotta look that guy up. He's from Puerto Rico. He's Abarigua. Oh, I don't know if he's from Puerto Rico. I'm over here talking that shit. Damn, hold on. Let's see where he's from. I think he is from the Dominican Republic. Or Puerto Rico. De Puerto Rico? Where? Oh, shit. Where is Roberto Clemente from? Look, see how is it hearing me? Oh, he is from Puerto Rico. Carolina. He is from Carolina, Puerto Rico. He is Abarigua. Yeah. So he's the 11th to record 3,000 hits. And that was in 1972. 1980, Ricky Henderson sets the stolen base record with 97. You don't know who the fuck Ricky Henderson is. You weren't watching baseball growing up. Like every other red-blooded American that likes to eat their steaks. Not well done. Ricky Henderson was the fucking guy. They'd be like, Ricky Henderson, but they'd put him in there when he didn't even hit sometimes, and they'd put him in and be like, oh, well, he's gonna just go in there and run for people. That's when I found out that you could have people go in and run for other people. They'd be like, why are they always putting that guy in that doesn't seem fair? And they'd be like, that's the rules. And after I found out that was the rules, I'd be like, seems pretty fair to me. Put that motherfucker in, because he was fast and he'll steal some bases. 97. Good job, Ricky. Good job. 1991, Jerry Springer. Now, this show changed my life. You know, I know people that were on Jerry Springer. They told me it was fake. You know, it was all bullshit or whatever. But it was still pretty cool to watch him on there. And when I still watch it, it's like a fucking train wreck. That guy got so rich off of that TV show. And then his bodyguard, Steve. Like, I found out that Steve had a TV show. Where the fuck was I at where I didn't know Steve had a TV show? Yeah, well, Steve has a TV show. And it's like the same thing as Jerry, but it's called like Steve. It's like, I wonder where he got the game, where he peeped that game from. Anyways, let's keep it moving right along. 2017. The Indonesian man, he survives a fight with a python. That made it onto On This Day in History on Google. That's pretty cool, because I'm dumb. I'm like, well, what do you mean a fight? Like, obviously he didn't like size him up, like meet me outside, like catch me outside. How about that? But like apparently he linked the python caught him outside, and how about that? He won the fight against the python. So I'm wondering, did he have a pocket knife? You know what I'm saying? Like, did he have a pocket knife? Like, I keep a pocket knife with me. Like, I take this out, I keep a pocket knife with me just in case I get, into a fight with a python. Or a dude named Connor that's taking too much pre-workout. But this dude right here won the fight against the python. How? I wonder how big the python was. Couldn't have been that big. There's no fucking way. Anyways, let's keep it moving. On this day, and this is important history, September 29th, 2021, the land is returned. There is land in Queensland, Australia, the northern part, that's returned to the Eastern Kuku Yalanji people. They gave them their land back. They were like, you know what? This is your land. We've had it for a while now. We did take it, but it's yours now. It was yours to begin with, but anyway, now it's yours again. And we're, our gift to you. Good for you, whoever gave it back to them, because it doesn't tell that part. It just says that it was returned to them. Well, if it was returned to them, obviously it was taken. I don't know what I'm saying there. Because we took this land from, I don't know, you know how it goes. But good job on that, giving them back their land. That's pretty special. I'm a water snob. So I'm drinking Iceland Lava. This is Iceland Lava natural spring water. It's imported. It's tap water. They put it in this bottle. And they said, they did whatever they could to it so it'd pass one of them little tests just in case somebody tests it. But other than that, it's just tap water. It's from over there. Like they were like, oh, watch what we do here. We're about to sell the fuck out of this water to these idiots. And then they did. I bought a bunch of it. I bought two cases of it. Fucking love it. It's great water. Great tap water. All right, on this day in history is over and it's done. We'll move on to the rest of the podcast. I won't spend a whole lot of time since this is the second one in 2 days. But I wanted to talk tonight about a couple of things. Okay, because I have people that reach out to me about things and they like to listen to these podcasts, and I never want to single them out. You don't have time in the day to have 30-minute conversations, 40-minute conversations with everybody. And it's not out of, hey, fuck you, man, or whatever. It's just basically, it's hard to do. It's hard to have those, those conversations with people over and over and over again in your day whenever you're doing all kinds of stuff. So I enjoy the podcast moments because I get to, kind of have a moment where people are listening. When I was a kid, I used to think when I was riding in the car, on into an adult, I'd be like, man, wouldn't it be cool if people were listening to me in the car? Not on this lustrous, like me whacking off into the corner on it, which is weird that I would say that. But you get what I'm saying. It's not like I'm over there getting off on listening to myself talk. But I do enjoy the interactions when people say, I enjoyed your show. I enjoyed what you talked about, and it was fun. And typically I'm just up here riffing it. Like I have a note right there. It says it right there. It says, just riff, pussy. That's what I wrote to myself. Like, just riff, pussy. Like that's so, like riffing it is something that I learned later in life. Just riff it. Just get in there. I don't even know where it came from, but I know that I like the way it sounds whenever you're just making shit happen. Just going off the cuff. This is different from stand-up when you do it like, podcast is different from stand-up. You sit up here and you try to come up with interesting content with one person. You're just picking your brain and you try to do it for 30 minutes. That's why I do the daily events, reading off that shit, having fun with it. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're okay, like today is not that great. I mean, there was a lot more things on there we could have talked about, but I was like, whatever, fuck that. My channel's slacking. Mainly because Mullet Gang's not slacking, but I'm behind. Like, I got a lot of back orders and stuff like that. I'm waiting on shit to get here, and that's just the truth. Like, sometimes I have no problem getting stuff in, sometimes I do. But things are a little weird right now for me. Like, I'm just trying to balance things out. And, you know, I have more than 3 people putting in comments like, hey, man, where's the fucking videos at? Where's the fun videos? Like, that's why we follow you. And I'm thinking to myself at first, like, well, you motherfucker don't have to follow me, but hey, I want them to follow me. It's kind of the whole thing here. So they watch the videos. In turn, create some sort of revenue, and then go waste it on other shit. Nevertheless, I do enjoy making the videos, but sometimes, let me tell you, my best videos that I've done, my best ones, like the really good ones, so to speak, the ones that have done well, are all done off the cuff. Like, didn't write them down, turned the phone on and just did them off the cuff. When I try too fucking hard, I don't, it's not like good. Like, they're never good. Like, they only make, you know, they're never good. You get the people that really kind of are, you know, have fun watching my stuff, but for the most part, I like to connect with, you know, not everybody, but I like to connect, and I like it to be good and entertaining, and the fact that you can see it, you know, make it past certain thresholds of your following. Like, you have the certain ones that watch everything you do, and those people are the rock. Those people are the ones. But when you put up content that's not good, you have to look at that like, well, what am I doing? What kind of mood was I in? All that stuff. Most content creators, so to speak, I hate the fucking word as content creators, are most creative people are people that, you know, they've had to take their mind and escape some sort of thing within themselves and around them, you know, and it makes them creative. But they suffer from depression. So, you know, not all of them, but most of them. And I'm just stereotyping here. I've met a lot of creative people, and I know that everybody has a story. Now, a lot of them get, you know, they got different ways of dealing with it. But for the most part, it comes from something, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I get, you know, depressed. And you don't want to be depressed, because if you're a man, you don't want to be depressed. Because you don't want to tell anybody. Because you got your buddies that'll be like, man, shut the fuck up, get over it. And then, you know, I don't do that. I don't play that game anymore. Whenever somebody tells me they're down and out, I try to break that. How's it going, man? What's up? Like, let's talk about it, because it takes somebody talking to you sometimes to get over it or whatever. But when you're a man, it's hard to express that you're depressed. Because what do you have to be depressed about? You know, some people are like, what do you have to be depressed about? Things are great for you. That's all fun and good, but, you know, it's hard to judge that. You don't know what people really got going on. So you don't, you know, depression is a weird thing. It comes from whatever. I know a lot of people that spend their time depressed. They take it deep in thought. You know, my day, I'm not depressed right now. I'm decent. Like, I'm okay right now, right? Like, I'm doing all right. But there's days where I'm like, shit, man. Like, is it worth it? Like, something will creep back up on me from my past or whatever, and it'll kind of set me into this, like, same old, like, oh no, not this again type feeling. And then which will in turn set me into this same old getting over it type things that I do to make myself feel better in the process, meaning sleep a lot or smoke a lot of weed or whatever. But my days typically, you know, are I get up in the morning, and sometimes everything's good and everything's great, and, you know, you're rolling from the day before. But then other times when things slow down, you start looking around and you're thinking like, man, fuck, you know, how did I get myself here in this spot? You know, you'll start thinking and reflecting on past tense and all that crap, and then you start digging yourself into a little bit of a hole, and you start having a bad day. You don't put up a video. That shit lasts weeks for some people. It's not just me. I try to do the best I can. I stopped drinking a long time ago, about almost 6 months ago. I stopped drinking 6 months ago, exactly. And I feel better because that shit was fucking me up when I'd get, down and out. The alcohol for some people, see, alcohol is not the problem. Alcohol was just a problem because I was getting down and out on myself, and when I drink, that's when it would hit the most. I'm starting to work out, I try to start feeding my creative side. I encourage people all the time to do that because it's a big deal that you sit around and beat yourself up when you don't deserve it. That's like the worst thing you could do to yourself, right? Like we've said that a few times. So the worst thing you can do is to sit around and hurt yourself and tell yourself that you're not worthy of something or that you're not this or you're not that. The most important part is just accepting who you are. I hear from a lot of people when I talk to them or coach them, so to speak, or mentor them, so to speak, or whatever. And when I say a lot of people, I'm just making some shit up. There's plenty of people that will some of them get in the comments and will tell you, we talk about some good shit. But the main thing is, I guess, people not liking the way that they look or their circumstances that they're living in. And then they often look at other people and be like, how could you get that or how could you do that? But you have to pay attention to why you're where you're at, is what I tell people. Like, why are you where you're at, obviously? What are you doing there? What's there to learn from? And then, no place on earth is permanent because life isn't permanent. You can stay anywhere you want as long as you want, but there's no place permanent. I don't know how we got to there, whatever, talking about depression, but I tell you, man, I encourage. I said it on my last podcast. I'll say it on every podcast. I encourage you if you're down and out like in life right now, like, and I'm gonna just throw a couple things out there, some ignorant things because I'm ignorant. But if your teeth are all fucked up, or if you're out of shape, so to speak, within your own parameter of what you see as standards. If you just don't feel good about yourself, if you don't think you're pretty, if you don't think you're whatever, if you're not funny, if you're not smart or whatever, and you're existing out here, and you often find yourself alone or negative thinking, this is what I want you to start practicing doing. I want you to start practicing empowering yourself with positive thoughts. Start taking like selfies and putting them up, And I'm gonna tell you this real quick because I'm gonna keep going for a minute after the 30 minutes, but the camera is gonna run out up here because I only got it set for 30 minutes because I like to do a 30-minute podcast. But I know I want to talk about this for a little bit longer, so you have to finish this up on Spotify if you want to hear the rest of this in just about 1 minute. But I encourage you, which I'm not talking to a big audience. I'm not talking to a big audience. There's only about 100 or 200 of you guys that watch this. This isn't like those unsolicited videos that I put on my Facebook or whatever. People actually go and look at this stuff on purpose. And if you're looking at it or you're listening to this, and I want you to know that, and it's not me giving you some false sense of motivation that you are worthy and you're enough and all that stuff, because that's to go without being said. Like you're worthy and you're enough. So we don't need to talk about that. But too many times we get in these situations where we've portrayed ourselves. Like, how about I know, like, I used to lie when I was a kid a lot. I still will do it to the police. Like, if I get pulled over going fast, I'll still do